Hello everyone, welcome to Campfire Nights. I know you're here to fall asleep, so before that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know where you're watching from and what time it is for you. Now get cozy and relax. Hiking is my escape. The desert, a couple hours from any town, is where I go when life gets too heavy. My job at a warehouse, lifting boxes for 8 hours, leaves me drained, and my mom's been leaning on me since my dad left last year. She calls every day, worried I'm not eating right or working too hard. I love her, but sometimes I need to be alone. Just me and the sand and the quiet. I'm not some expert outdoorsman, but I know enough to bring water, a map, a knife, and my phone, even if the signal's garbage out there. My mom always texts me to be safe, and I always promise I will. That's why what happened last month still eats at me. I broke that promise, and something out there knew it. It was a Saturday, and I needed to get out. Mom had called twice that morning, upset about a bill she couldn't pay, and I was carrying that weight. I picked a trail I'd done once before, a 6-mile loop through a desert valley with low hills and a dry wash. It was familiar enough, or so I thought. I left around 11, planning to be back by 5. The trail started easy, a sandy path winding past cacti and rocks, the sun warm but bearable. I felt lighter with every step, like I was leaving my problems behind. I didn't check my map much, just followed the rock cairns marking the path. About 2 hours in, I noticed the cairns were harder to spot. The trail was fading, like the wind had smoothed it over. I stopped to drink water and check my map, but the hills didn't match up right. I must have missed a turn. My chest tightened, but I told myself to stay calm. I've been turned around before. You don't panic, you retrace. So I started back, scanning for the last cairn. That's when I heard it. A sound like someone snapping their fingers, sharp and deliberate, maybe 30 yards away. I froze, looking around. Nothing but sand and bushes. Anyone there? I called, my voice sounding small. No answer. Probably a bird or something, I thought, but my skin was crawling. I kept walking, faster now. The snapping came again, 2 quick snaps closer. I stopped, my heart picking up. I'm not crazy, right? That wasn't the wind. I turned in a circle, squinting against the sun. Empty desert. My phone buzzed in my pocket, which was odd, no signal out here. It was a text from my mom. Come home soon. I frowned. She knew I was hiking. I typed, on the trail back later, but it wouldn't send. Battery was at 35%, dropping fast. I pocketed it and kept moving, but the cairns were gone now, like someone had kicked them apart. I picked a hill I thought I recognized and headed toward it, telling myself I wasn't lost. Not really. The snapping kept coming, irregular but persistent, like it was pacing me. I heard my mom's voice in my head, telling me to be careful, and I felt guilty for not bringing a better map. Should have turned back sooner. I checked my compass, but the needle wobbled, not settling. Great, just great. The sun was lower now, shadows stretching long. I was sweating, my mouth dry despite the water. The snapping stopped, and for a moment I thought it was over. Then I saw it. A figure, tall and thin, standing maybe 60 yards away behind a boulder. It wasn't human. Its arms were too long, hanging past its knees, and its head was small, like a melon stretched thin. It was still, but its shadow moved, twitching like it was alive. I blinked, and it was gone. My breath caught. I'm seeing things right, heat stroke or something, but I knew better. I started jogging, my backpack bouncing, my knife in my hand. What was I gonna do? Stab a shadow? The snapping came back, 3 snaps now from my left. I glanced over, saw nothing, kept moving. I reached a dry wash, wide and shallow, and followed it, hoping it'd lead to the road. My phone buzzed again. Another text from my mom. "You're not safe." My hands shook as I tried to reply, but it wouldn't send. Battery at 15%. How was she texting me with no signal? I stuffed the phone away, my mind racing. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe it's nothing. The snapping turned into a hum, low and vibrating, like a machine buried in the sand. It wasn't coming from one spot, it was everywhere. I was running now, the wash blurring under my boots. I saw it again, the figure, standing in the path ahead. Its shadow was wrong, too big, writhing like it was made of smoke. I yelled, "Leave me alone." But it just stood there, its head tilted. Then it snapped its fingers, but the sound came from behind me. I spun around, saw nothing, looked back. It was closer, maybe 40 yards now, gliding without moving its legs. My stomach dropped. It was playing with me, like it knew I'd turn. I sprinted, my lungs burning. The hum so loud it felt like it was inside my skull. The wash opened into flat desert, and I kept running, blind in the fading light. The snapping was constant, coming from wrong directions, left when it should have been right, behind when it was ahead. Him came next, not shouted but whispered, clear as day. "Come here," it said in my mom's voice. I nearly tripped, tears stinging my eyes. No way. She's home, she's safe. I kept running, but the voice came again, softer. "Why'd you leave me?" I screamed, "Stop it." But it laughed, a low chuckle that wasn't hers. I don't know how long I ran. The sky was dark, stars barely out. The hum and snapping were relentless, but I didn't hear footsteps, just that voice, my mom's, saying my name over and over. I saw a light ahead, faint, like a flashlight. "Help, finally," I shouted, waving my arms, but as I got closer, I saw it was a phone, screen glowing, lying in the sand. My phone. I stopped, chest heaving. I'd had it in my pocket, I swear. I picked it up, the screen showing a photo I didn't take, a blurry shot of me, running, taken from behind. My blood went cold. I looked around, saw nothing, but the hum was louder, the snapping circling me. I ran again, clutching the phone, the voice now a chorus, multiple versions of my mom's, overlapping, saying, "You promised." I hit asphalt, the road, and saw headlights. A pickup truck. I waved it down, screaming, and the driver, an older guy, stopped. I babbled about something chasing me, and he looked into the dark, said he saw nothing. I begged him to drive me to my car, and he did. At the trailhead, my car was there, but the driver's side window was cracked open, like someone had pried it. I didn't say anything, just thanked him and sped off, checking my mirrors. Nothing followed, or so I thought. I got home past midnight, shaking, the phone still in my hand. My mom was asleep in her chair, the TV on. I woke her, showed her the texts, the photo. She said she didn't send anything, hadn't touched her phone all day. I checked it, her phone was dead, hadn't been charged since morning. I showed her the note app open on my phone, a new entry I didn't write. "You left her alone." My throat closed up. I called the rangers next day, told them everything. They found the phone's location data, said it never left my pocket. No tracks, no signs of anyone else. They said I was dehydrated, imagining things. I know I wasn't. I don't hike anymore. Mom and I are okay, but I can't look at her the same. Sometimes, when she's cooking or reading, I catch her humming, low and soft, like that thing in the desert. I tell myself it's nothing, but I lock my door at night. Last week, I found my phone open to that photo again, even though I'd deleted it. And yesterday, Mom left a voicemail, just my name, whispered. Her phone was off when I called back. delivery driver, the kind who hauls packages across state lines for a logistics company. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills, and I like the solitude of long drives. The desert highways are my usual route, endless stretches of asphalt cutting through sand and scrub, with nothing but stars and the occasional trucker for company. My wife worries about me being out there alone, especially since we're expecting our first kid in a few months. She's always texting me to check in, make sure I'm not falling asleep at the wheel. I tell her I'm fine, that I've been doing this for years, but I always keep my phone charged and my eyes sharp. That's why what happened a few weeks ago still doesn't sit right. I thought I knew how to handle weird situations. I was wrong. It was a Friday night, and I was on a late run, delivering a load of packages to a distribution center a couple 100 miles away. The highway was quiet, just me and the hum of my van's engine, the desert dark and vast outside. I was maybe 3 hours from the nearest town, around 1 a.m., when I saw a car pulled over on the shoulder. Its hazard lights were flashing, a beat-up sedan with its hood up, a universal sign of trouble. I slowed down, not because I'm a hero, but because you don't leave someone stranded out here. My wife's voice was in my head, telling me to be careful, but I figured I'd just ask if they needed a call for a tow. I pulled over about 20 feet behind, keeping my high beams on. A guy stepped out from the car, waving his arms. He looked normal enough, maybe in his 30s, wearing a flannel shirt and jeans, his hair messy like he'd been stressing. I rolled down my window, keeping the engine running. "You okay?" I called out, walked over, hands in his pockets, and leaned in close, too close for my liking. His smile was wide, but his eyes didn't match it, like he was reading from a script. "Car S dead," he said. "Battery maybe. You got jumper cables." His voice was calm, but something about the way he stood, like he was sizing me up, made my stomach twist. I'm not paranoid, right? People break down all the time. I told him I had cables in the back and got out, but I kept my phone in my hand, just in case. As I walked to the rear of my van, I noticed something. There was no steam coming from his engine, no tools on the ground, nothing to show he'd been trying to fix anything. The hood was up, sure, but it felt staged. I glanced back at him, and he was still smiling, watching me. "You try starting it?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. He nodded, too quick. "Yeah, nothing. Just need a jump." I popped open my van's back door, digging for the cables, but my eyes kept flicking to the sedan. The windows were tinted, too dark to see inside, but I swear I saw movement, like someone shifting in the back seat. My heart picked up. Why didn't he mention anyone else? I grabbed the cables and walked toward his car, but I stopped a few feet away. "Anyone else with you?" I asked, trying to sound like I didn't care. His smile didn't budge. "Just me," he said, but his eyes flicked to the sedan, just for a second. "I'm not imagining this, am I? Something's off." I told him to pop the hood all the way so I could see the battery, but he didn't move, just kept standing there, hands in his pockets. Then I heard it, a low hum like chanting, coming from the car. Not loud, but steady, like a group of people murmuring in sync. My skin prickled. "What's that?" I asked, pointing at the sedan. He laughed, a sharp sound that didn't fit. "Radio," he said. "Must have left it on." I didn't buy it. Radios don't sound like that, not out here with no signal. I took a step back, holding the cables like they could protect me. "Maybe I'll call a tow truck," I said, pulling out my phone. His smile dropped, just for a moment, and he stepped closer. "No need," he said, too fast. "Just the jump. Won't take long." The humming got louder, and now I could make out words, not clear but rhythmic, like a prayer or a chant. I glanced at the sedan again, and the back door cracked open. just an inch. My throat tightened. "I'm gonna call anyway," I said, backing toward my van. He moved faster than I expected, closing the gap, his hand reaching out like he was gonna grab my arm. I don't know why I didn't run. I should have. But I stood there frozen as a woman stepped out of the sedan. She was older, maybe 50, in a long dress that looked out of place, like something from a church. Her face was calm, too calm, and she was holding something, a small book, like a Bible. But the cover was worn and strange. "You're kind to stop," she said, her voice soft, but carrying over the hum. "Most don't." Anne stepped back, like he was deferring to her, and I noticed 2 more people now, standing behind the sedan, half hidden in the dark. They weren't moving, just watching, their faces pale in my headlights. The humming didn't stop. It was coming from them. I gripped my phone, my thumb hovering over the emergency call button. "I gotta get going," I said, my voice shaking. The woman tilted her head like she was studying me. "You're tired," she said. "Long drive, isn't it? We have a place nearby. You can rest." Her words were gentle, but they felt like a hook pulling me in. I shook my head, backing up. "I'm good. I'll call a tow for you." She smiled, and it was wrong, like she knew something I didn't. "No need," she said, echoing the man. "Join us just for a bit." The others stepped forward slow, their eyes locked on me. The humming was louder, words clearer now, something about the light and the way. My heart was pounding. "I'm not crazy," I kept telling myself. "This isn't normal." I turned to run to my van, but the man was there, blocking my path, his smile gone. "Don't," he said, low like a warning. I shoved past him, my shoulder hitting his chest, and sprinted to the driver's door. The woman called out, "You'll come back." Not angry, but certain, like she was promising. I jumped in, locked the doors, and peeled out, my tires kicking up gravel. In my rear view, I saw them standing there, all 4, not chasing, just watching. The woman still holding that book. I drove for 20 minutes, hands shaking, checking my mirrors every second. My phone buzzed, and I nearly swerved off the road. It was a text from my wife. "You okay?" I called her, my voice cracking, and told her what happened. She was quiet, then said, "Don't stop for anyone again." I agreed, but when I hung up, I saw another text from a number I didn't know. "We're waiting." My stomach dropped. I hadn't given them my number. I tried calling it back, but it was disconnected. I got to the distribution center, dropped off the packages, and told my boss I needed a few days off. He didn't ask why, just saw my face and nodded. When I got home, my wife was asleep, but her phone was on the counter, open to a text she hadn't sent. "Come back." I woke her, asked if she'd been texting me. She said no, showed me her phone, no text sent. I didn't tell her about the other message. I couldn't. I called the highway patrol the next day, gave them the sedan's plate number. He said it was registered to a woman reported missing 2 years ago, from a town 100 miles away. No record of a group, no cult, nothing. They found the car later, abandoned on the same stretch of highway, hood still up, no signs of anyone. I haven't driven that route since. My wife S been clingy, asking me to stay home more, and I want to, but sometimes I catch her humming, low and soft, like that chant. I tell myself it's nothing, but I've started locking the bedroom door at night. Yesterday, I found a small book on my porch, worn and strange, with my name written inside. Driving is my therapy. I'm a freelance photographer, mostly weddings and portraits, but the constant smiling and posing wears me down. When I need to reset, I hit the desert highways, just me, my camera, and the open road. My brother thinks it's weird, says I should stay closer to town, especially since he's been struggling with his health lately. He's got a heart condition, and I'm the only one around to check on him. I always text him before I head out. Let him know I'll be back in a day or two. He worries, but I tell him I'm good, that I've been driving these roads since I was a teenager. That's why what happened a couple weeks ago still shakes me. I wasn't just lost. I found something that shouldn't exist. It was a Tuesday night, and I'd had a rough week. A bride chewed me out over her photos, and my brother had a bad checkup, so I needed to clear my head. I grabbed my camera bag, filled a water bottle, and took off around 8 p.m., heading down a desert highway I'd driven 100 times. It's the kind where you can go an hour without seeing another car, just sand and stars, and the occasional jackrabbit darting across. I had my playlist on low, windows cracked, the cool night air keeping me awake. My plan was simple: drive a couple hours, find a spot to shoot the stars, and crash in my car till morning. Around 10:30, I noticed my GPS acting up. The screen kept glitching, showing me off the highway, then snapping back. I figured it was the desert messing with the signal, so I ignored it and kept driving. My phone buzzed, a text from my brother. "You good?" I pulled over to reply, "Yeah, just driving. Back tomorrow." It sent, but the signal was down to 1 bar. I checked my map, the paper one I keep in the glove box, and saw a turnoff a few miles ahead that take me to a good stargazing spot. I got back on the road, but the air felt heavier, like the desert was holding its breath. I found the turnoff, a narrow dirt road branching into the dark. It wasn't marked, which was odd, but I'd seen plenty of unmarked roads out here. I followed it, my high beams cutting through the dust, expecting to find a clearing. Instead, the road kept going, winding deeper into the desert. I checked my odometer 5 miles, then 7. Should have turned back right then. Why didn't I? I told myself I'd find a spot soon, but my gut was nagging me. The road dipped, and my headlights caught something, a sign, rusted and leaning, half buried in the sand. It read "Welcome," but the rest was scratched out. My stomach twisted. Welcome to what? I slowed down, debating whether to turn around, when I saw lights ahead, faint, flickering like street lamps. No way, I thought. There's nothing out here. I kept driving, slower now, and the lights grew clearer. Buildings took shape, low, crumbling structures, like a town that'd been abandoned for decades. Houses, a gas station, a diner, all boarded up, their windows dark. The road turned into a main street, cracked and overgrown with weeds. I stopped the car, engine idling, my hands tight on the wheel. This isn't right. I've driven this highway for years. There's no town here. I grabbed my phone to take a picture, but the screen was dead, even though it had been at 60% an hour ago. I tried starting it, nothing. My camera was in the back, but I didn't want to get out. Not yet. I looked around, my headlights bouncing off the buildings. They were old, 1950s maybe, but something was off. The signs weren't just faded, they were blank, like the words had been erased. The diner's neon sign buzzed, but it didn't spell anything, just random lines. I'm imagining this right. I rubbed my eyes, but it was still there. A ghost town, but not like any I'd seen. It felt alive, like it was watching me. I heard a sound, soft at first, like footsteps crunching on gravel. I whipped my head around, but the street was empty. My heart was picking up, that feeling you get when you know you're not alone. I told myself it was an animal, maybe a coyote, but the steps were too steady, too human. I locked my doors, my hands shaking. The footsteps stopped, and for a second, I thought I was okay. Then I saw it, a figure, standing just outside my headlights, maybe 30 feet away. It was human, or close to it, dressed in old clothes, like a suit from an old movie. But its face was wrong. Not blurred, not missing, but smooth, like a mannequin's, no eyes, no mouth, just skin. I froze, my breath shallow. What is that? It didn't move, just stood there, facing me. I wanted to floor it, but my body wouldn't listen. Then it raised a hand, slow, like it was waving. My skin crawled. I'm not staying here. I shifted into reverse, but my engine sputtered, like something was draining it. The figure took a step closer, its head tilting, and I heard the footsteps again. Not just one set, but several, coming from all sides. I looked in my mirrors, more figures, same smooth faces, standing in the dark, circling my car. They weren't rushing, just walking, deliberate, like they had all the time in the world. I slammed my foot on the gas, and the engine roared back to life. I peeled out, fishtailing on the dirt, the figures vanishing in my dust. The main street stretched on, longer than it should have, the buildings blurring past. I kept driving, my heart hammering, checking my mirrors. Nothing followed, but I felt it, that weight, like the town didn't want me to leave. The road finally curved, and I hit asphalt, the highway. I didn't stop, didn't look back, just drove, my hands shaking so bad I could barely steer. My phone buzzed, screen flickering back on. A text from my brother. Where are you? I didn't answer. I couldn't. Drove for hours, till I saw a gas station, one I knew. I pulled in, my chest heaving, and checked my phone. The text from my brother was gone, like it had never been there. But there was a new photo in my camera roll, one I didn't take. It showed my car, parked on that main street, with those figures standing around it, their smooth faces turned toward the camera. My throat closed up. I deleted it, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I called my brother, told him I was fine, but my voice cracked. He asked what was wrong, but I couldn't tell him. How do you explain something like that? When I got home, I checked my map, my GPS, everything. No record of that turnoff, no town, nothing. I called the highway patrol, asked if there was an old settlement out there. They said no, just desert for miles. I didn't tell them about the figures. They'd think I was crazy. I tried to let it go, focus on work, on my brother. He's been worse lately, tired all the time, and I've been staying over to help. But something's off. Last night, I woke up to footsteps in his house, slow and steady, like the ones in that town. I checked every room, nothing. This morning, I found my camera bag open, a new photo printed out, same as the one I deleted. My brother was in it, standing on that main street, his face smooth, blank, like theirs. I haven't told him. I can't. He's all I've got. But sometimes I catch him staring, his eyes too still, like he's waiting for me to say something. I keep my car keys on me now, sleep with the door locked. I don't drive that highway anymore, but last night I got a text from a number I don't know. Come back. I blocked it, but I hear footsteps outside my window, soft and steady, like they're circling.